I'm Tara Monster, and I like to make things. Today, I'm going to show you how to make a cool holiday headdress. It's a fun way to spice up your Christmas photos, and it's easier than you think. But before we get started, check out my hedgehog hoodie. Made by me. I'll put a link below in the description for a 20% off coupon for everything on my website. And now, if you want to make this awesome headdress, let's get crafting! Before we get started, let's go over all the supplies you'll need to make your headdress. The first thing you'll want is a hot glue gun. I recommend a wireless one if you can find it. They have them on Amazon for pretty affordable. As well as one of these head clamp things. I believe it's called mannequin head clamp or hairdresser head clamp. It works with this foam head right here. So you just put the foam head on there and then it clamps onto your table. And this is just gonna give you something really easy to work on. And yeah, these little clamps are like $5 or $10, and then these foam heads are like $1. You can find these at craft stores as well, but I just got this stuff on Amazon, these two things. And then you also want to have a good pair of pliers, as well as some wire cutters and some scissors, some floral wire. I got this at Joann Crafts. Actually, I think I got one at the dollar store and one at Joann. You also want an assortment of holiday flowers. I got all these at the dollar store, as well as some assorted ornaments, also found at the dollar store. These little guys here. And another really important thing you'll want is a letter size piece of felt. And you know, pick a Christmas color or a color that goes with the ornaments you're putting on. And for the ties on the end of the headdress, you're gonna want 2 pieces of fabric. I just had these extra pieces of ribbon. You can also use, you know, t-shirt fabric, any kind of fabric that you would use to make a headband out of would work great. Thing you want to do is attach your clamp to your table. It's just a C-clamp and it's got a tightener on the bottom. Open it all the way, put it on and tighten it. Next step is to put your head on. And now I can show you from a similar headdress I made what the important components are. The most important piece is that piece of felt. That is what all of the flowers are attached to. And then the second most important piece is that extra piece of fabric. You're gonna want to attach the fabric to the felt. I used a very simple cross stitch, but you can also hand stitch it. That's the first step. In order to make a sturdy base, you're gonna want to make your felt piece about 4 inches wide. So take your piece of felt, measure 4 inches, and cut it to be that size. The next step is to take your piece of felt and put it over your head and measure how long you need your ties to be so that you can tie it behind the back of your head easily. I'm going to show you on the mannequin head, but you should do this on your own head. So you just put it there and then measure how long you need your ties to be. My ties for my headdress are 15 inches long. And that's from where the felt ends to where the piece ends. And then you'll use these pieces of fabric to just tie it into a bow so that you can easily put it on your head and remove it. It's also very comfortable. Next, you want to attach the fabric for your tie strings to your felt. I'm going to just hot glue mine on. I may go back later and attach it with a hand stitch. I think for now though that the hot glue is going to hold it well enough. Felt and velvet, which is what this is, adhere to each other extremely well. So it will be a nice hold. What I'm going to do so that they can be bonded together is I'm going to fold in the ends of the felt so that they match up with the velvet. And then I'm just going to glue them in place. And see, now those are folded over. And now we're going to attach it to the fabric. And then it will look like this. And there, now they're very strongly attached. We're just going to do the same for the other side with our other piece of fabric. Ta-da! Now we have our headpiece. The next step will be to put it on our mannequin head. Perfect. See, this is the front and this is the back. What I like to do is actually start with the front so that I can get the placement of how I would like the flowers. And now for the fun part, we can start arranging how we want our flowers to look. You're going to want to start clipping off the flowers so that their stems are no longer than the width of your felt. And that's what these little snippers are for. So I'm gonna go around and do that to all the flowers that I want to use. And now I'm gonna use some of these white flowers. This little pine cone. And now that we have our flowers ready, I'm going to start mocking up how I want the headdress to look. Perhaps something like this. What I like to do is get it all mocked up before I start attaching things. In order to do that, I'll show you what my trick is. I use little clips to keep everything in place. These are clips for sewing. You can get them on Amazon. They're basically like basting clips instead of using straight pins. Also, if you have binder clips or hair clips, they work as well. You're gonna go around and clip your flowers on just right where you want them to be. And just how all of you have this video as a reference for making your headdress, I'm using the first headdress I made as my reference. Some of the fun things I did is I took these little ball flowers from the dollar store and I combined them with the glitter flowers. I just put them right in the middle and then it makes a new flower. I'm going to use that as one of the centerpiece flowers. And it's really starting to take shape now. And just so you can see, I'll show you the back here, how everything is just clipped in place. Another good tip for keeping your headdress on your head form is to take some straight pins and just stick them right in to the foam head, right at the edges. And that will just be sure to keep it in place while you work. You don't want it slipping around on you. And sometimes you end up doing a little bit of rearranging as well. And this is why I love clipping them first, because you can go back and change things once it starts coming together more. Do I want to add some pine cones? I think maybe I do. That's looking very nice. Oh, and don't forget about these little birds I found. Another thing that helps when attaching is if you have a scrap from cutting your felt, you can actually put that over the top while you're pushing down so that the glue doesn't get on your fingers. Put a strip of glue, put the flower on, and then cover it up with the strip while you press it while it dries. And that will really encase the stem to help it stay on better too. Helps it blend in better too. See how you can see all these stems, but you can't even barely see that guy. Let's do it on the next one too. Oh yes, that's looking very nice. And now that I'm over on this side, this guy's still a little bit loose. It's tight in the flower, but it's just kind of moving around. It's tightened here. So I'm gonna glue down the flower and then also put some glue here to keep it. And now let's just look at the front and see if there's anything else we want to add. I'm going to go ahead and add those birds back on. Little bit of glue to keep him, and then we'll use his wire to secure him. There! The next thing we want to do before we secure everything with the wire is put it onto our head and see where it's going to sit, because this foam head is going to most likely be slightly smaller than your actual head is. So let's try it on. Oh yes, that's looking quite nice. Oh yes. Trying to get it low enough so you can see those birds. This is looking quite lovely. One thing I noticed though is that this flower seems to come down a little bit further than the other one. And so I think I'm going to add one more little white flower on this side. And then we'll be done and ready to do the final secure. We're adding one more little white flower on this side. And there we go. Now let's just see how that looks. Yes, that is much better. Looks a lot fuller and comes down a little bit further on that side. There, now that we have it just how we want it, I'm gonna turn around to the back side and just clean up this mess a little bit. And now you have a choice to make. If you are going to wear your headdress only for your holiday photos, then you would probably be fine with just leaving all this hot glued, and you don't need to do the next step of securing it with the floral wire. It will stay glued on here. However, if you're like me, at least during normal times before COVID, I would be wearing these headdresses out to holiday parties where I would be dancing all night. And that is when you would want to take a little extra piece of floral wire and secure each stem in place. So I will show you how to do that real quick. So here's our wire. And like I mentioned, the felt is really easy to stick the wire through. So all you have to do is grab one of these stems, stick it through on both sides of it, pull it through, and then twist underneath. I do one twist and then I poke it back through. So that way any pokey bits are not going to be touching my head at all. Just comes right out the top, and then I do another twist, and that makes it super secure. And then you would just cut off the extra. And there you go. You also want to just bend it down so it's flat. And so now I've just cut this extra piece of felt here, and I'm just going to glue it right over the top. This will add extra strength, and it will just hide all of the stems there. And I recommend, instead of trying to do one big long piece for the whole thing, do a couple different pieces like what I'm doing, because it is along a curve. And like I mentioned, felt really loves to stick to hot glue. So like sandwiching this stuff in between two pieces of felt, this will be very strong. There we go. And one more piece for right here. Another nice thing about the felt is that it stretches a little bit. So you can really press it in with the glue. And there, now our back looks all nice and tidy as well. I'm gonna go ahead and take it off to just trim the last couple little things. There, so that's the back of it. And then this is our beautiful front. Yay! I'm gonna try it on one more time. All done! And now we have our beautiful bird headdress. It's so sparkly and holiday-like. I cannot wait to wear it for my holiday photos. This was the one that I started with. This one didn't have any birds, and I'm just really glad that I decided to add a couple onto this one. Every time I make a headdress, they are just a little bit different. I have so many different kinds of headdresses that I make, and I am looking forward to sharing them with you in future videos. Thanks for joining me today. I hope that you loved learning how to make this awesome headdress. If you have any questions at all while you're working on your headdress, please put them in the comments below, because I really want to help you make this happen. You will be so happy when you're sporting one in your holiday photos and all your friends and family are like, "Where did you get that?" And you can proudly say, "I made it myself." Thanks for watching. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then ring that bell so you can get notified when I make new content. I make a new video every week. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!